No joke, this is my 7th attempt at recording this video. I have tried to adjust the settings on my microphone so many times, but I've never gotten the best result that I could get. So hopefully this time is better. Today I am talking about why I personally prefer Doom Patrol over Legends of Tomorrow. Before we start, feel free to drop as many hate comments down below as you wish. This is my personal opinion, and I want to start a discussion with you all and see who agrees with me and who may disagree. If you look through my channel backlog, you will see that I am in no way in disfavor of Legends of Tomorrow being a good show, and an entertaining show at that. But the truth is that Doom Patrol is very similar, and in my opinion does everything Legends does good even better. I have really been enjoying Legends Season 5 so far. I think it's quite good, and the show is by far the best Arrowverse show, but that isn't really that hard considering the low standards set by the likes of Supergirl, Flash, Batwoman, and even Arrow when at its absolute worst. Compared to Doom Patrol, Legends of Tomorrow simply falls flat though. The first thing to go over here is consistency. Doom Patrol has only had a single season, so for some it might feel unfair to do this comparison. But honestly, I don't give a flat freaking shite. The first season of Doom Patrol was not perfect, far from it, but it was exceptionally good for exactly what it tried to be. It had a consistent tone throughout and had a great balance between action, drama, emotions and humor. It also had some very memorable moments, something I do not remember Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 having. Legends has honestly been all over the place. The last 4 seasons have all been good, except for the first season though, but they have all strayed so far from what the show was originally about that I can no longer speak positively about its consistency. The tone changes constantly, from dramatic to lighthearted to straight up stupid. While Doom Patrol has found a way to balance all the genres, tones and elements needed for the show to succeed, Legends fails to juggle them all at the same time, and loses track of where its head is in many instances. I believe seasons 2 and 3 were the peak of Legends because the writing and direction were at its strongest at these points in time. Even still, these 2 seasons were vastly different from one another, and stands as proof that the show doesn't quite know what it wants to be. The root of this problem might be the ratings and the lack of viewers. Compared to the biggest superhero shows out there, the Legends doesn't get many viewers. Season 4 failed to reach 1 million more than, twice I believe? That's not at all good for business. It's safe to say the creators of the show more than likely have felt the need to change it up to try and please every viewer possible, and get as high ratings as possible. But they haven't been able to do that so far. I would actually say though that Season 5 has finally found back to the balance of humor, action and drama that Season 2 first introduced, and that was completely lost for Season 4. I think Season 5 might have the possibility to rival Doom Patrol Season 2 if it continues to impress and wow its viewers, but it's debatable if they will really have the capability of doing that after their recent track record. Next up, let's talk about the rating and its influence on the action and humor. Legends of Tomorrow is PG-13, whilst Doom Patrol is R-rated. This should immediately tell you that there will be great huge differences in the different themes conveyed in these 2 shows. Doom Patrol has a lot more freedom to do crazy fucked up shit that involves swearing, killing and more. Legends is a very light-hearted show at its core, but it still has managed to get creative freedom to do a lot of things that you would never see in other shows. Still, because of its family-friendly rating, it simply doesn't have the same flair as Doom Patrol. There have been instances where Legends has had to censor itself because of the limitations the rating provides. Yes, I know what you're thinking. You don't have to have an R rating to have a fun show. And you would be completely right for saying that. There have been many shows with PG ratings that have still managed to be awesome, but you can't disagree that there are some limitations that can't be overlooked. The dialogue gets much spicier when you can use curse words regularly, and the cinematography becomes more colorful and layered when the show is allowed to go crazy and do stuff like crazy, gory, violent action scenes. Now, if you were to overdo it and swear in every sentence, for example, it wouldn't be that fun, it would be annoying and pretentious. But in the case of Doom Patrol, it's found a way to handle all these different elements without overdoing them. Legends does have a special charm to it that you don't get with many shows these days, but so has Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is really like Legends of Tomorrow's older, more experienced brother that's allowed to do more mature stuff, which is ironic considering the fact that Legends is into its 5th season and Doom Patrol's 2nd season hasn't even premiered yet. Doom Patrol also has a bigger budget and more experienced actors, so it can afford bigger set pieces, better special effects, and even better acting. Now, let's discuss one of the most important parts of any superhero show, that being the villain. There is a famous quote that says, "A hero is only as good as his villain." What originally made me love Doom Patrol so much weren't the heroes, but the villain Mr. Nobody. This is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most creative villains I've seen in any piece of media in recent years. He really does elevate the story a lot. All superhero team-up shows have all the heroes playing off each other's individual personalities, something solo shows don't have, but the addition of a compelling villain introduces a whole new dynamic that affects our perception of the show. Legends of Tomorrow's seasonal villains are boring, bland and uninspired. Vandal Savage was the villain of Season 1, and his entire goal was to take over the world for no reason other than the fact that he wanted power. That's not a good motive. To write a good bad guy, you need them to have a personal connection to the heroes, or at least a goal that goes beyond destroying the world and extends into a deep relationship with the protagonists. Just look at Slade Wilson, Adrian Chase, Eobard Thawne, and even Hunter Solomon, all other examples of villains from Arrowverse shows. They all built up relationships with the heroes on a personal level, so the build-up was much greater and the execution all the more powerful. The final showdown between the heroes and the villain shouldn't just be a giant set piece with lots of action, although that is important too. It should include moments of joy, sadness, fear and excitement, all elevated by the connections made between the protagonist and the antagonist. And come on, if you're not gonna do that, at least make the villain a badass with awesome action scenes. Don't fuck up on all fronts. Season 2 of Legends understood this, and had a group of villains that played very well off each other and were quite compelling. We were also familiar with them from other shows already, so we knew what to expect, and we knew that they would have a connection to the different characters in one way or another. Season 3 and especially 4 had extremely weak villains, and the lack of consistency in these seasonal villains is what leads to my opinion on Doom Patrol having a stronger villain than Legends. Finally, we have the characters and the story. Now, this is where it becomes harder to judge, because I really do like the cast of both shows. I think the reason I prefer Doom Patrol over Legends is because it has fewer characters. Legends has such a massive cast now that they are doomed to have some less likable ones mixed in with the rest. Mona and Gary are pretentious and annoying, and, well, I actually do like Gary now, but he used to be very annoying. And although I really like Mick, he gets nothing important to do. Let's not even talk about the Hawks. Because the main cast of Doom Patrol is so confined and relatively small, each character gets more time in the spotlight, and therefore more time to shine and get properly fleshed out. Everyone is very interesting, and there isn't a single character I dislike. Everyone also gets a chance to properly interact with each other, and with everyone else around them. There aren't any characters that stay on the sidelines or mainly only speak to one or two characters, in particular. The story for Doom Patrol isn't anything new or original, so to speak, but the way it handles the balance between action, emotions, character moments and everything else is great. There are so many things happening all the time, but they somehow make it make sense. Legends is set in the same universe as shows like Arrow, so its craziness doesn't always seem logical, but Doom Patrol is in its own little world with its own rules that don't have to apply to the same laws as other shows. I know it's technically in the same world as Titans, but I haven't seen that show, so I can't really comment on how that affects it. Doom Patrol is extremely ridiculous, but the ridiculousness somehow makes sense because of the already established villain with no boundaries. Legends doesn't have this element, and its ridiculousness is goofy and fun, but it doesn't fit into the universe they have built, and therefore it doesn't feel realistic enough. The story of Doom Patrol obviously does have its flaws and downsides, but overall it's more entertaining and makes more sense than Legends of Tomorrow in my personal opinion. I think the best way to describe the difference between the two is that Legends is a shut your brain off, grab some snacks and just sit down and enjoy type of show, while Doom Patrol has a much more complex, in-depth story with more meaning to it. Now, if you want a more in-depth, spoilery discussion about the differences between the quality of these two shows, I am planning on making a podcast about it. By commenting below, you can enter the podcast and join in on the discussion along with me. You can also join my Discord server, which is linked in the description below, to talk to me and my friends about everything you can think of. I look forward to further discussing this with you all, and I hope you enjoyed and look forward to my next video. Bye bye.